Here it goes. Shush. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Agora's Rising, episode number 5. This is a Paragon podcast. That was take 47. We nailed it that time. Thank you guys so much for watching live on Twitch. If you guys are getting us in podcast format on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play, we thank you guys so much. I am not alone tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight joining me is my co-host, Shane Gucher. What is up, Gooch? How are you doing, man? Just get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about, man. Mostly about competitive play. We are joined, and it's our honor and privilege to have two of the members of Triangle Formation, Giant Chipperl, who is the warrior player, and Selwonk, who I think is like the flex warrior slash like bruiser. You like to play Finn now, like you play the other melee people who aren't as tanky. Joining us today, so they're gonna be dropping the insight, dropping the knowledge bombs, and we are just finished Agora's Rising number 2. They were able to pick up second place. The community raised just short of $1,100. Every single penny was raised, not by a sponsor, not by anything, but the people who were like, we love this game, and infused a large amount of money into it. So if anything, that makes us the Bernie Sanders of esports, guys. So thank you so much for your donations. We really appreciate it. And they're going to reap the rewards, man. They got second place, but you still, guys, you got yourself a good chunk of change. Buy yourself some pizza. Go out and have a good dinner, you know?
Buy some pizza, ladies and gentlemen.
Pure pizza money.
So introducing Giant Chipperl and Selwonk. Chip, introduce yourself, man. Plug yourself a little bit. Say hello to Agora's Rising and kind of tell us about what led you into Paragon and why are you here?
Hold on, Chip. Before you introduce yourself, the name of our podcast is Voices of Agora.
Did I say Agora's Rising?
We keep saying Agora's Rising. We're so fucking bad at this today. We're going on like 75
hours.
Selwonk
literally just left.
Selwonk
literally just left.
Selwonk can't do it anymore.
He does this. We talk about this.
So, Chip, welcome to Voices of Agora. Now you can introduce yourself.
He's like, I'm out. He didn't say anything, dude.
See,
for those of you
him first. That's the problem. You just insulted him.
For those of you not watching the live stream, Selwonk literally just stood up out of his chair and walked away. Oh, hey, what's up? He's back. He's back.
I have to do the beanie thing, I guess.
Oh, he's got that beanie game on. Oh, you're right. You both have that beanie game going on, dude.
Yeah,
so
uniform.
Chipperl, introduce yourself to the community. Who are you? What do you do? And why are you on the show today?
Hi, I'm Chip.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's Chip.
It's your answer.
Selwonk. No. So, Chip, you are a streamer. You stream a lot of Paragon, and you're also a part of one of the community teams. Again, you guys just placed second in the second Agora's Rising. But how long have you been streaming, and what is your interest in Paragon? Why did you start playing Paragon?
Started streaming like just over a year ago when I was playing in like the Evolve tournaments and stuff like that. Rip Evolve, rip.
Or Evolve. That's such a good game.
Oh, man. Yeah, let's not get into the Evolve stuff. But anyways, I started streaming that in tournaments and got partnered through that, and then from there I bounced around Overwatch, Paragon. I played a ton of MOBAs back in the day, and just all of them from Aeon to Strife, man. That's where it started. Don't even try.
Man. You're
even try.
You're going to the OG StarCraft.
Yeah.
OG.
I always get people be like, this is the first one. No, Aeon to Strife.
Aeon, I agree. I got you there, buddy. Aeon to Strife is where it all started.
Yeah. And yeah, I've always loved that. Play a lot of FPS and all that kind of stuff as well. So when I saw Paragon, I saw this beauty of a game that's like merging the two well. I had to get in. And I don't know. Since then, the competitive is where I'm gonna try to go. Just naturally, that's where the good games are, right?
Yeah.
Like this tournament, yeah, we lost. I enjoyed the hell out of it, regardless. Like,
I'm glad somebody did. No joking.
And the other voice that you hear, guys, is the another member of Triangle Formation, and that is Selwonk, man. So give us a little bit about your background. Where do you come from? Why are you here? Tell us about yourself, man. Be shameless about it.
Well, I come from my mom.
True. The original.
True, untrue.
That's the best shout out one can give is to their mother.
I've just been gaming for a while. Played all the MOBAs. I'm mainly from Smite, but me and Nico have been, or me and Beacon, I guess, is what he's known for here. I've been gaming for like years on end, and he actually hooked me up with the a friend's code or whatever in OT5, and that's pretty much how I got started. And we actually like just started wrecking people in OT5 through OT10, and I don't even really know how we really got competitive. I think we just started a team just to mess with the QA team, and then it sort of just went from there on us just like just doing well as a 5.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so you're team leader.
I think we're just all leaders.
Okay.
I know me and Nico were playing, and then we're just like Triple. I think Triple wanted to get like a QA team going, so it was us 3, and then we seen Suki like was a viewer or something like that. And we liked his play, so we got him, and then we got True as well. I don't know. That's just sort of how like our team got together.
Just kind of happened.
How long have you guys been playing together? When did you guys become a team?
Oh, a few weeks into when it was like early access, I want to say.
So not even in the OTs. It was after the game.
No. Only me and Beacon been playing for like years and since like OT5.
Wow, that's
So it's not too bad.
Yeah, no, for playing together for. I thought you guys played together longer, but.
Oh no.
Amazing. We saw some great games from you guys 2 weeks ago, and even today. Yes, you guys play second place, but holy crap, some amazing games. What do you guys say is your team's strength? I know I'm throwing out big questions here, but as a team, what do you guys think your strengths are?
Bragging stuff.
What the heck? You want to give us all?
I'm throwing you under. We're going reporty here, boys.
Me, I honestly, I don't know. We don't get like when we're like, I'll probably do my like POV like on YouTube, whatever. But we really didn't get tilted too much. We haven't like our comms. Like some people might have thought like our comms were like going to get salty and whatnot, but we actually kept like a good head on like just like a good mentality and stuff, and which is good. Like if we lose, that's whatever. As long as like BM kind of like a lot of other comms you'll hear like on teams probably be like BMing and stuff once like mistakes are being made. But even from losing, like we can come back some games. Not obviously not today, but we can usually come back from being behind. But I don't know. We're just all good players individually. There's a lot of things we have to like improve on as well.
That's that to me. I'm like, okay, cool, because I've seen before in games when they're in early access, and you always have one team that is one of the stronger teams, which of course is you guys, right? You won the first one and got second place, and so there's no doubt that you guys are one of the strongest teams around right now. I don't think anyone is going to question that. And there's always been a big thing when teams become dominant in the early phase of a game. It happened here as the Storm. I know it's happened in other titles as well, where the moment that they show like that, oh man, we just lost. Like it just crumbles down, and they immediately like lose all discipline. They lose all morale and everything. So I think that with you saying that, Selwonk, that actually makes me think. I hope to see you guys around for the future and continue. I mean, obviously early on in early access and things, teams are always at a flux. Players are always switching around and things like that. But you guys seem to have a little bit. I don't know if it's maybe camaraderie or just a connection in the team there that I think will keep you guys together, and maybe you guys have a bright future ahead of you as Paragon moves into a kind of a bigger, more public environment. So that's my perspective and my opinion, guys. I like to hear that coming from someone who is kind of in that, I guess, was relegated to the captain position of the team.
Yeah, I know. Like, Dirt right now too is like I know True and Beacon are definitely going over our replays as well, and we do that often too. Is going over replays and see what we did. But like right now, that we're just going over like what we're doing. But yeah, I know a lot of us just want to stay competitive as well, so we'll probably stick together for a while. I know I might have to go out of town actually for 2 weeks. I might miss the next tournament, but I know we have a good sub as well.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So Chip, I was just going to ask, what are you guys' plans on the future? Are you guys going to promote or to pursue this as a full 5? Do you think? I know nobody's making esports money yet. We're not looking at the international here. I know you have a full-time schedule, so it could be difficult for you to jump in and practice. But is the end game for you, Chip, to take this team and become one of those pro players? Is that what you guys are looking to do, or?
Well, I'm going to take it as far as I can. And I've mentioned it before. Like, if the team as far as like scrim and practice and stuff goes, if they're held back by anything, it is my schedule right there. Because again, like they play all day. Selwonk, you, Beacon, and everybody are just on all day, and I'm like, okay, I can fit in these hours, and we try to make it work. I'm like, okay, all right, today, guys, if we're scrimming, just like send me a text or something. I'll get on the scrim, but I'm gonna not be like on the computer unless that happens. Like I gotta try to squeeze in the time and stuff, and like full honestly, as like the big esports scenes and all that come in here, like if they do, when they do, whatever you want, if that happens, like I don't know how long I'll be able to keep up with that, right?
Yeah.
So as time goes on, like I'm gonna have to like kick myself off the team eventually. But for as long as I'm playing and doing well on the team and holding my own, I'm there, man. I'm there for the team. I'm there for me. I'm there for everyone.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, you guys have been very dominant. Yes, again, I hate to say this because you guys got second place, but you guys have been very dominant. We know a lot of people watch Beacon Stream or EcoCross if you're watching them on Twitch. But let's talk about today. Let's talk about this was you got 2.
Agora's Rising number 2.
Agora's Rising number 2. You guys unfortunately lost to Bay Life, who was an EU team.
Not unfortunately, man. Those are really good games.
No, they're great games, but I'm saying unfortunately they didn't win. They wanted to win. It's not unfortunate that
right.
They're great games. For them, it's unfortunate they lost. But let's talk about Chip. Let's talk about what happened early game. You guys seemed in game number 1. You guys kind of just Bay Life seemed to have your number the entire game.
Well, let me say this: were you guys caught off guard by the composition that they had? Was this
not at all?
You seen, okay, I was gonna say, like, I mean, what was the big factor? Because it seems like Bay Life
Decker.
I was gonna say, Boas's Decker was insane, man. Like, big shout outs to him. His Decker was like next level good. I mean, yeah.
Well, last week we just banned Decker back to back, and we were fine. Honestly, we were just thinking we had a different strategy going into it, but we should just fell back to the roots and just went ban Decker, and I think it could have been a different game from there. But yeah, Decker was definitely got us.
Yeah,
now, I mean,
player, especially on Decker.
Yeah, have you seen that composition before? That like kind of like front line, lack of a front line, but more kind of backing it up with both the Decker and the mural. Is that something you're well accustomed to?
Yeah,
that they've run before.
Yeah, when we actually first started playing EU, they beat us like a few times before we started taking games off of them. And when they did beat us, it was with Decker. That was like actually before. That was like practicing for Agora Rising number 1.
Gotcha.
And so we knew that was like one of their stronger comps with the Decker, but we just wanted to try something else too. And we definitely learned our lesson. Definitely Decker.
I mean,
is they.
Talking about the bans, right? There's only 3 warriors in the game. There's a reason that we don't have draft right now. There's there's not enough heroes in the game to have like a true draft with pick faces and stuff like that. So there's obviously Rampage, Steel, and Severog, right?
Okay, thanks.
And yes,
he doesn't like this. Chip
You
rules
keep
against
saying
this
Warriors.
warrior
What is
shit.
like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like even then, you said Warriors is someone who's not as tanky, but isn't Steel like one of the tankiest?
Yes. So with that being said, with both Rampage and Steel taken out of the equation, I mean, were you expecting to see that going into that with the bans? Was it intentionally like trying to force them into an awkward situation with either you have to play Severog or not have a warrior, or was that more of a we are practiced with Severog, we're more comfortable with it?
Chip,
you want that or me? Oh, me? All right.
Whichever one, man. Both of you guys.
Yeah. So, well, disclaimer: I want to take the Decker out the entire time. I think Boaz is great on Decker, but like we made a team decision going forward, and like I'm not going back on that at all. I'm just saying, that we basically had been playing, how do you say it, pick bans, like basically just saying, like, oh, this guy's really good on something. Let's take it away from him. Let's make it uncomfortable, because we are very confident in our players and like like we can play all the OP characters well, and because it's a mirror match, if you're banning something because it's OP, sure, but you both don't get it.
Yeah,
if you don't ban it, both teams can pick it, and at that point, it's like which one can play it better. So for the most part, throughout all the tournaments, we're just like, it's not about what's OP, it's about what do they play well? What can we do to make them uncomfortable? Whereas we have like a decent player or character pool for each of us to play. So for the most part, there we're like, hey, let's see what happens if we take away Isu's Rampage, because we haven't seen much of that. And he ended up pulling out that new character. What's it called?
Iggy and Scorch.
Iggy. He whipped out the Iggy, and it was good. And I think part of what happened there in hindsight is really that they, like you said, they had no front line. They were all ranged characters, for even Iggy as well with the turrets and all that.
Right.
But that kind of messed with us, where we had a bunch of kind of like bruisers and like, okay, Sevarog can ulti to keep people away from the carries and this and that. And there's no one to keep away from the carries. They're all range. And just like the matchup ended up definitely being in their favor with that regard.
Yeah. We actually wanted to, I'm sure you guys realize that, we wanted to implement something where it was like there was a little bit of like kind of a pick phase, if that's what you call it, where the teams call each other's picks out like one by one to try to have a little bit of like added strategy, like, oh, hey, but we don't think it was quite ready yet. So hopefully that's something we'll have in the future there. So you guys can maybe have a little bit more strategy and in depth as far as like what composition you're going to have. But yeah, man, it was so you had the Sevarog and go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about Sevarog because I like Sevarog as a hero. I want to know Chip's thoughts on this hero. I
want to like him.
So you don't like him,
right, man?
Well,
I like him.
It's like,
like
do you want that? You like him? Yeah. Again, I like him, but it's the same problem that a lot of characters have in this game. It's more the alternatives are just
not
so much more potent.
Yeah. Right.
It's like why pick Sevarog when you could have Steel or Rampage? I could have, in this case, Bans.
Yeah.
But there's still even other characters, as you saw, like whipping out the Decker and things like that. Well, it's just other ways of supporting. And when you ask yourself, like, what really does Sevarog bring to the table that the others can't? And that's where he just kind of falls off, because people do everything he does, but better.
I want to talk about your farm for a little bit, because I was trying to watch your shoulder pads on your siphon ability.
I don't like.
You don't do it?
No. We basically make a point to try to not, because if you do, you start slowing down your farm and all of that. And I try to.
Yeah, when you play Sephiroth, basically just ignore that you have stacks. Is how we do it.
Yeah,
and that makes me, from a design perspective, that makes me think that part of his design needs tweaking. Then, if you have to ignore an entire part of his kit to play him effectively, then I think that right there just screams there needs to be some changes right there.
And I find that a lot of that is just how his kit kind of clashes with some of the core concepts in Paragon.
Right.
They do all this CXP sharing and all this kind of stuff, make last hit not matter, all of this kind of stuff, and they're like, oh, Sevarog, last hits matter, and not only on who, but with what ability, and it has a cooldown. Your team doesn't know if it's up or not. The creeps are very, very just like chaotic in what they're shooting half the time as well. So if you like try to leave him a last hit, the creep might snip it, and now your entire team loses out, right? So it's like, at some point right now, it's like, if I just last hit without even thinking about my Q, I'm just going to be stronger than if I try to get these Q stacks. What really are they getting me that just getting the CXP isn't?
Right.
And that ends up being like, it's a clash with some of the fundamental CXP sharing, all that kind of stuff, goals that the game seems to be putting forth. So that's why it's a little
It's iffy. I definitely think, I wish it applied like a debuff. If you land the Q, it applies a debuff. If you have a few seconds to kill, then you gain a stack. Or something like that to make it useful, because having to worry too much on those last hits, it really takes away from his kit or his from the hero overall. I do want to talk about game number 2, guys. So game number 1, we saw the amazing Decker gameplay. And it did seem to be the Achilles heel. I kept bringing it up in chat, how amazing that Decker gameplay was. But what
we held the 3 inhibs down too.
Yes. What happened? You did defend.
So good.
You did defend. What happened game number 2? It seemed to be back and forth for most of the game, and then Baylife just kind of.
Yeah, we just weren't on our game point. Like Bayliff was wanting it. They were hungry. I definitely felt like they were just on point. We know our issues. I don't really want to like say it too much over here, but
I understand.
We definitely know our issues, like what happened. But they just played the better game for sure.
They made some really good plays too. Like when they blocked my Baron buff with that Iggy burp or whatever you want to call it. That was
like play. Holy, like, do you think that was calculated or just lucky? Like,
I would expect it to be calculated, because it was very much me not even thinking about Iggy having a knockback, because I guess I'm just not as used to playing him. So it was very much me. It's a very, very telegraphed thing that I did of ulting and then trying to leap right away. Whereas, like, now, obviously, now that it's happened to me, or if I practiced more against Iggy and actually realized it, I would have okay, Iggy's there. I should like hold out to see if he bursts me or not, or maybe like do my leaps differently. Anyways, I think it was calculated. I'm gonna give him credit for it, and it was a great play.
It was.
Again, that was Boaz again. He's a good player.
Yeah,
really good.
You're right.
player.
It was. I forgot they switched it up there.
What's going on here?
What?
So on nothing. You're good with Skype, man. That's all.
Oh, okay.
That's all, man.
I thought you were saying something about like Steel isn't Rampage or something. No.
What?
Steel is not Rampage, ladies and gentlemen.
I think that's what made us lose.
Dude, I will drop that insightful commentary like you don't even know. Did you know KL, the community manager, manages the community?
Shane with the grade A fucking announcements during. So good.
That question that totally escaped my brain just
Well,
now. So you tilted me, dude. Congratulations, you did it.
We are going to be doing an Agora's Rising number 3. That's going to happen in 2 weeks. We should have a brand new hero. We've got some teases from the community. But someone, you did mention you're going on vacation. Will you be back in 2 weeks for game number 3 or tournament number 3, or are you not going to be here for this one?
Depending on how it goes, if I go for 2 weeks, it's definitely probably I'm definitely gonna miss one. I think, and I think we have a sub for that as well. But after that, I'll be back. Depending on how it goes, I have to see.
That subs me, by the way.
That subs, yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Well, that's not true.
Just kidding. It's totally not true.
I do want to talk about. We've covered Agora's Rising a little bit. We did get to see some amazing games. Again, congratulations to the winners, Bay Life, and runners up today of Triangle Formation. Absolutely amazing gameplay. Nice. But I want to talk about some of the news we got. We haven't been able to cover this. We got a couple patches. I saw a chat in Discord about movement speed, and I saw Giant Chipperl's stance on it, and I actually want to cover movement speed a little bit. I know. So with the recent patches, we saw movement speed increase by 12.5%. It's definitely made the game a lot more fast-paced. It's not twitchy shooter like COD. But Chip, I won't go into too much here, but you had a discussion, and from what I got, you're not a huge fan of it, or what are your thoughts?
How salty are we allowed to be on this?
You can be as salty as you want to be. I don't mind. The viewers don't care. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about the movement speed changes? Do you think it was stupid? Did you think it was too soon of a change from Epic, or do you think they should have left it where they were at?
Again, like, the movement speed itself, I really don't mind. The game is still playable, it's still fun, all that kind of stuff. Do I think it was necessarily? Not at all from my perspective. I liked how the game speed was. I found it more tactical, and I find that the more movement speed you put in, the more almost forgiving it is, like as in terms of like positioning and team play and all this kind of stuff. Like if you look at the two extremes from having like a stupidly slow-paced game where every decision matters and plays off and you're committed and you need your team and all this kind of stuff, to a stupidly fast-paced game where it's just chaotic and who the hell cares and oh look, I won. Like there's obviously the extreme in there. You got to find that magic place in the middle. So trying a faster move speed, I'm not opposed to that. But if you're gonna do it, there was so many more things that need to be done, in my opinion. Like if they could have, and again, they're developers. There's I don't know if there's spaghetti code or something. They can't necessarily do the perfect things all the time. But I think that if they're gonna do a 12.5% speed increase, I think it should have been just like across the board of like animations and everything, because that's a giant balance change on everything. For example, mages in this game, like the 3 mages, now Iggy is different, but the 3 mages are almost very, very near almost the exact same thing with slight differences. They all have AoE ults, they have AoE abilities, and now, okay, they have one has speed, one has a teleport, all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is they're so AoE based or short range teleport speed based, all that kind of stuff, that the move speed really does nerf them.
Yes.
It nerfs them. The bottom line is even if you hit your ability, faster move speed means they're going to get out of it 12.5 or 12% faster. Yeah. And that means it's doing that much less damage in consequence. And that's not compensated for. And then in terms of like actual abilities, like a steel ult or all that, that's also going at the same speed and is now harder to hit because everyone's moving. And in this game where there was already the issue of the Rangers being like so key in the game, that like everything hinges on them. If they die, you win, all that kind of stuff. And people were crying nerfs on Murdoch and all this kind of stuff. now you just made it so that they end up being stronger through like indirect and direct consequences. Those characters, their kit, the concept of the kit is a glass cannon where you just do tons of damage, and it's not that you can survive hits, it's you gotta just not be hit in the first place. More movement speed means you're able to not be hit more in the first place.
Yeah.
And as much as they say like, oh yeah, but they're going to be missing more shots, but everybody is.
Right.
Yet they're still just going to be surviving more. Anyways, the bottom line, again, this just turned into a big rant. I'm sure you were ready for this.
I was.
We are rant friendly here. We are
But,
rant friendly on Voices of Agora, man. Rant away.
Yeah, so I'm not going to go on too much more. Like the point is there are other steps that they had to put in my opinion, ahead of time, and it turned out fine in the end. They still have a lot of balancing issues to do, and they're still going to be doing that, and like they can't balance everything at once, and that's all fair game. But like I thought they maybe could have waited on this more. Now, if there was a problem of like population and they thought they were losing population because of it, and they're trying to do it quick to like make people happy, sure. But I still don't believe, and this is part of personal bias as well, but I don't believe the movement speed itself was the core issue. When people are complaining about slow movement speed, I think it was like a multitude of other factors and not the actual in-combat movement speed. I think it's people, playing, and you've heard me rant about this, playing Sparrow being recommended, meaning all new players.
Yeah.
And all the other characters like, I'm teleporting on you, I'm rolling on you, I'm destroying you, and Sparrow's like, I'm walking away while dying.
Right.
Like, that's going to give such a misrepresentation of the game and move speed just by playing that character when you're new. And then just lack of knowledge about a lot of certain things. Like you in the movement speed, you saw that they've removed the strafe penalty. A lot of people didn't know there was a strafe penalty. So to them, they just think that's the in-combat movement speed because by definition, or not definition, just natural instinct, they're strafing while fighting. So they think that's a natural in-combat movement speed because they're always strafing. So like a lot of people could have won fights simply by backpedaling without touching left or right. Because as soon as you touch left or right, you were slowing down. And all these little things, I think they should have changed first. Remove the strafe penalty. Try that.
Yeah.
Then also the penalty when you shoot. Try removing just that. They removed both of those on top of the 5%. I think that's like, it's like the Grux hammer. It's like a big hit. That almost goes too far when, in my opinion, little increments would have been better.
Right.
Anyways, rant over.
I agree. I do not disagree with you at all. And I wanted to hear your take on it because we asked. I'm also want to hear Selbong's take on it as well. Because I think this is an important part of the game. We got a major increase in speed. A lot of heroes were indirectly nerfed by this. For me, Gideon is the prime example. His ultimate, unless landed absolutely perfect and timed with a shockwave and a Muriel ult and a steel ult, people just get out of it too fast. So there were indirect nerfs. But Selbong, what are your thoughts on movement speed? Do you think it was too soon? Again, rant away, my friend. Go for it.
Notch.
Yeah.
You know who didn't get nerfed?
Who?
Muriel. Muriel got nerfed.
we can rant about that. That's a good one too. Let's talk about Muriel.
Man, I wish we could ban 2 people. Muriel done. No, movement speed was. I adapt to whatever. I really don't care for the changes. I'll adapt to whatever. I do feel like it definitely made skill shots hit like a lot harder to do, definitely, or obviously, just because of the movement speed. So like the rocks or whatever that hero that I played last game, Sephiroth. Definitely, there's like skill shots like that are definitely harder to hit. Obviously, like I don't even know if doing like basic attacks are different because you can just adapt to it. So like the movement speed is like even if it goes up or down, like you're gonna get used to the hitbox and whatnot too. So that doesn't really matter, I don't think, too much to the ADCs. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really find a huge problem with it. Besides this, it makes skill shots definitely a lot harder to do.
Right. Yeah.
And then maybe obviously like AOE stuff like Gideon and stuff, I can see him get a small nerfed, and definitely Grexa hit with it harder too, just because his Q is definitely way harder to land, but like who really plays Grux unless you're trolling? But I was really sad. I was really sad to see who was it? KOS that played, or no, the other Wolves, whatever.
Arctic
SG
Wolves.
Yeah, Arctic Wolves really, I think, just jacked everything because that's when the devs were actually watching. We're gonna watch it this one time when they pick Grux. And they're like, oh, we don't need a buff Grux. Like people were actually thinking, oh, and they banned him against the other team. Like, oh man, Greg, we did good, guys. We did good.
We nailed this.
Pat ourselves on the back right there. I mean, I have to say, I'm actually proud about this fact. I don't know if I should be proud or not, but I am. I feel like a proud parent because we have a new Paragon meme that originated inside of Agora's
yes.
Rising with Grux specifically. I don't remember it exactly. It's
Yo,
Grux'
rhyme.
state is always in flux. I'm sure someone on Twitch.
Like, what's his pick rate? Like,
Pick rate 0% pick rate or something. And I was so happy. I felt like a proud parent. Like, I'm so proud that Twitch chat is making memes because of our tournament. Like, that makes me so happy.
I want to see it spammed in chat right now.
Yes.
I want to see everybody spamming this meme.
I think the guy that did it, I think it was either was it Baytrees or no, it was somebody else. It was
Let's get the
who was
Grux
it?
meme in chat.
It was Freaky George, I think, that came up with it.
Yeah, it was one of those people. But that makes me so happy, man. I think that's so funny because it's a Paragon meme, but it isn't like toxic or anything. If anything, it's just like it's just talking
all in
about
good
like
fun.
it's just it's in good fun and it's lighthearted.
My
My name is
There we go.
Grux. There it is. My name is Grux. My balance is in flux. What will be my fate? 1% win rate.
It's too good.
Absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it. Yeah.
So did you guys, Cellrock and Chip, did you guys happen to see the AMA on Friday?
No.
You did
No,
not.
I
You
work.
missed the Reddit
I work?
AMA. Well, knock that shit off, Chip.
wait,
It's
no,
got stacks on stacks
I
to make, man.
lied. I was there. The MA. Yeah. I was there actually. I lied.
So they did mention something
meme.
about a tank balance patch coming.
Ow, there it goes.
And-
Holy-
Oh yeah, Rampage.
Rampage. What do you think is going to happen to Rampage? I because I love Rampage. I think
Man.
Rampage is awesome, and he's.
I think
perfectly
he's
balanced.
awesome too. And people are saying like stun to cancel his ulti. I don't even know if they have to even go that far. Like I prefer just like stopping his double jump. I think would be like the biggest part.
Yeah.
I think that'll be fine. Like don't like kill him like they did Greg. So I think like his ulti going in is fine. Maybe like nerf a little bit of the HP on his ulti.
Yeah.
But just, if you just stop the double jump, I think that will fix a lot. Or give it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say like just maybe make it so he can't double jump when he ultis or nothing resets. I want to say.
Okay.
I think then after that'd be fine.
What about his health regen? And Chip, I'll let you answer that one. His health regen is very, very strong when he's ulted and in the jungle. Do you think they should change that, or do you just think the double jump is kind of the issue?
Well, I don't know if you heard my opinion / potential fix on this before.
No, I
but
haven't.
like, well, yeah. Basically, I think Rampage in general is in a decent place, except for the ult.
Yeah.
And like again, from my experience in all this kind of like game design competitive that because again I do have a degree in game design. Probably should have
What do
also
you
said
know?
that in the intro, but yeah. So basically, I'd rather allow counterplay than literally change stats.
Yes.
So yeah. So for example, for Rampage, what I was suggesting, because part of the problem, again, the double jump, it's a pretty damn big issue.
Yep.
And
Yep.
the oh shit button of like, I made the worst play in the world, but I
Right.
pressed R.
Yay! Yeah.
So what I've been suggesting is simply make the ulti window where time takes the ulti a little bit longer, and actually not just say that it can be interrupted, but actually allow it to be interrupted.
Yes.
Because I tested even this tournament. I stunned Isu while he was small and ulting,
Yeah.
and then you see him big and like in the stun animation. Like you guys lied to me.
Instantly-
I saw you call up the QA team. You were like, the QA team said it could happen, and it straight can't. Like, you just straight up called them out.
I've talked to them, and then I even asked them to like kind of confirm if it worked, and then they hadn't gotten back to me yet. I think I just confirmed it.
I think you
But,
did. I was gonna say I've had time and time and time again where I've been stunned going in that ultimate, and I still get the ult off. I don't think it works.
Well, it's entirely possible that there is a small window that if you are stunned during that time, like it'll actually counter it. But the thing is, there's also, lag interpolation, all this other kind of stuff that'll probably make it so you're never actually going to hit that window. So even if it's
Yeah.
theoretically there, it's practically not. And if you just make that window a little bit bigger and telegraph it, what that's going to do is now Rampage goes from like I pressed all these keys in one, into an actual strategic character where already there's a bit of counterplay on the ult that you can't use your rock and all that kind of stuff. And now it's going to be like, okay, so I could be small and rock from distance and have my jump, and I'll still have my ulti ready. But if I want to actually go in and engage, I either have to ult first and leap in, which now, again, they could just boot me away or not walk away from me, and now I'm not able to get back on them because I've already ultied and leaped. Or I can be risky and leap in rock, or just directly ulti, and then I have my leap ready as well. So you have that kind of risk-reward factor and potential for counterplay and outplay. And you can even go a step further and say, like, okay, if you're that into it, and you're Rampage, and you're looking at the team, and you're looking at the positioning of the team, and like, no, if I jump onto the Sparrow back here, I'll be able to get my ulti off before anyone in his range to stun me. And again, there's like a bunch of counterplay that goes in here. And if a Rampage is in the pack and has no ult, he's gonna die. Yeah. So it will balance him as is just by allowing that, in my opinion.
Since we're on the subject of Rampage, do you think he should be able to leap with the Orb Prime?
Yeah.
The Helix
no,
orb,
don't you say yes to that?
No, but if they nerf him and make it so the double jump is gone, I definitely think he should jump with it.
Yeah, well,
one way or the other. Yeah, like with the double jump being implemented, do you think he should be able to?
They blocked me, even as is. They blocked me from delivering the orb.
That was such like a low case scenario, though. Like how many times out of 100 will a Iggy be able to get himself off? You know what I mean? Like,
if you could interrupt the ult, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah,
because they could have stunned me or done any of these CCs after my first leap before I can ulti. Simply put, like if the Rampage tries that, if they try to leap ulti leap after the first leap, anybody with a CC is just going to be waiting for that telegraphed ult and block it.
Yeah.
So
that
as long
is
as
true.
you keep them out of one leap range, you're fine.
That is a very true point. Selwonk would have capped that, though, from what I just heard. I don't think you would have been blocked by the biggest words. So, Chip, you need to get on Selwonk's level, bro.
I should have went to the roots and just went to Rampage and just showed him what was up from last week. Mistakes were made.
Way to cost your team the game, Selwonk. Way to go.
What are you doing? Oh, it's a dog. I was like, what is he doing? Like, what in the world is going on right there? His hands are in a weird place.
Yeah, it does not look good right now.
So we're on the subject of Rampage. I want to talk about Isu, who's the warrior player of Baylife. His playstyle on Rampage is so hyper aggressive. Do you think that can be played on any other hero like that, or is it because Rampage has that fallback mechanism of oh shit? He has a literal oh shit button where he just hits R and then jumps away. Do you think do you guys want to see more heroes like that enable this like just distraction, harassment, like just hyper aggressive sort of warrior based, or would you rather see maybe tune back a little bit from that sort of playstyle?
I sort of like that playstyle, maybe because he builds like defensive like. Pretty like defensive or tanky, so like I think he can get away with that. I don't know, it's a little too much maybe like for this Rampage, but we were watching actually games before that, and we were actually hoping like because he didn't go that aggressive like when we played against him. It didn't feel like, at least from like our point of view. But in other games, like he'd just like take like extra damage, Isu would, and like just jump in and just like we were hoping like he'd just do that like to us like second games for easy pick, but this didn't happen. But I don't know. I really that's why I like playing them too, because I build pretty much like a bruiser on them.
Yeah.
So I can just sort of harass people while like triple or something like that can sort of protect like the back line while I'm just in the front line. But I don't know. I like heroes like that. I don't really think he's too overpowered. Besides like the double jump and basically just a double jump. If you build him correctly, you can't really like say he's like OP. Besides like maybe like his ulti definitely needs like maybe drop like some HP though. But yeah, other than that, the jump, I think he's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree.
I want to talk about a card we saw a lot of. I mentioned
that was just implemented with the most recent patch.
It just came back after.
Sash?
Yes. Madspore Sash.
Are you Madspore Sash, bro?
OP, man. OP.
Is it OP? That was my question. Is it OP? It's 30 damage a second that you can't
especially
really
when you
defend.
can stack it. Especially when you can stack it on different people. Was that a person? Oh, your dog laughs just like a human female. That's amazing, man. That is a girl. I'm sorry. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I did not mean to make that joke. I'm sorry.
Why did she just come up from underneath the table? What just happened?
What is this? Is man? There's some real shady stuff going on right inside of Trip, dude. Like, holy crap!
Whoa!
Carry on.
Let's talk about the stash, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the stash, not the stash.
The stash. I read chat. The stash. Let's talk about why it's OP. Selwonk, why is this card so OP?
It's just the defense. Like you can get level 5. So basically, like your first pack, if you get 6 points, obviously it's gonna be like is what you're gonna want to go. So you get that, and then it has physical defense along with just the AOE is just huge, especially like level 1 or just like early level games. It's just really huge, especially if you have 2 of them too. And that's one thing I think that makes sort of like Sephiroth viable is just because of that sash.
Yeah.
So just a small defense in the AOE on it is just massive for clearing waves, jungle, and just doing damage to the carries. Just because they don't ever really build unless it's like whatever the ugly chick's face is, Sparrow.
Oh,
But unless it's Sparrow, she builds some kind of like defense, a physical defense. But like usually they don't. So I don't know. It's just really good to poke. Extra poke though.
Right.
Chip,
Right.
what are your thoughts on the card? Because you used it quite a bit whenever you were on Rampage, and Sevarog as well.
A lot of people did actually on the tournament, I think, too. Like everybody.
Every time, anybody that had it, it was like Shockwave. Anybody who had the card, they would use it. Do you think 30 damage is too much? Do you think they should drop the damage? Do you think they should... I don't know the range on it, because unfortunately RNGesus has not shown as light on me, and I don't have it. But what do you think they should do with that card to bring it back in line with... and not being like a must-have card?
Now that's assuming that it is. Do you think it needs to be tuned down, or is
I think it's fine.
I was going to say I don't mind it.
Okay, well, we think it's fine. Now, answer the goddamn question. Besides the damage, I mean, you don't think there's any changes that need to come to it? Because it was at 50 damage before. They brought it down to 30.
Yeah.
Maybe a
it
visual
was
on
OP
it?
at 50. Yeah. That's fair.
Do you think there needs to be a visual on it? Because you can't see the range on it. I don't know how close I have to be to you if I'm taking damage. I think there needs to be some changes.
You almost pretty much like it's
you
melee
have to,
range.
Okay, so you have to be on top of somebody. Now let me, because I don't have it. Can it knock somebody out of travel mode?
Yeah.
We saw it. Notch. We saw it. When I don't remember who it was, but they were trying to turn in the Orb Prime, and a person was in travel mode coming up to catch him and tried. You literally saw the auto attack animation, like to get him out of travel mode, and all of a sudden rooted. And that was entirely from the Mad Sport. I don't remember when that was, but yeah, it totally knocks people out of travel mode.
And now here's something: it should not be doing damage while the person's in travel mode. Because right now, you could push a lane while staying in travel mode.
That's true.
By just running around the creeps in travel mode with your Mad Sport Sash, you'll be pushing it. And that shouldn't really happen, right? If you're in...
I disagree.
All right, go on.
Internal conflicts, guys. I love it.
Disagree because you want to do it, or...
I always want to do it. But anyways, no, I did it. I actually did it on one of the last games. I was in sprint mode just to like check over the cliff. But I think if you're going in sprint mode, you can still get hit and get punished by being like, I don't know why you want to be in sprint mode. Unless like the reason I did it was just to check the cliff. So while the other team was attacking the wave, I'll just be in sprint mode and look, and then while like damaging it. But I think it's fine being in sprint mode. If you're in sprint mode, there's always that chance to get like just rooted and get wrecked. I think it's fine how it is. If it was true damage, maybe that's something different, but it actually is just only physical damage. So I really don't see any problem with it, in my opinion.
You guys are biased because you have
Boom.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
I actually had to spend $200K to actually get it. Before the
wow.
Dear Lord.
Oh,
I'm trying to think. I normally have a script, guys, like because we have the tournament
We're going off
weekend,
the cuff today, man.
I'm going off the cuff. I normally have like a full show plan and stuff to talk about. We've
I
covered.
could actually elaborate on the Mad Sport if you want.
I do. I want to hear more about it because I personally think it's an overpowered card.
Here's the thing. I don't think it's overpowered, but I do think it's one of those cards that's almost necessary, and that's not the same. That's not the same as overpowered,
You're right.
So when the crafting system's in there, yeah. So when the crafting system is in there, and right now, if you could craft it, would you still be saying overpowered, or would you just be like, no, this is like how I want to build my character?
Right.
Because that's like saying, the extra 50% crit is overpowered because all the ADCs basically want to need it and build it.
But you get that in your starter pack.
Yes, but again, that's the difference. Overpowered doesn't necessarily mean like if you need it or not. Overpowered is like, no, this should be changed. I don't think the card itself should be changed.
Yeah.
But when crafting comes out, until crafting comes out, it does give an advantage for certain characters.
Same can be said about Shockwave, right?
I think Shockwave is way more OP than.
Yeah.
I agree. Shockwave is more OP than
I mean, it's like an AoE knockup. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. Especially because Steel can get it. Like, your big... Steel and Gideon, I think, are probably the most popular heroes to pick it up on. Steel... Is that one of the... Well, we'll kind of transition here. Talking about, since we're on the subject of cards and how, like, the big impactful ones, Mad Sports Dash, Shockwave, Barrier Will, stuff like that. Is Steel, because Steel is an intellectual because he has a PhD, since he's an intellect affinity. Yes, because you can relate, man. You can relate to him.
Yeah, you got
If
it.
Steel couldn't pick up Shockwave, would he still be like this first ban material, or is it because he can pick up Shockwave and Barrier Will, like the two like super impactful cards, and Honor the Peer as well? Can he?
I definitely think he'd be, still a lot, way viable. I think Gideon, on the other hand, will not be as viable if he doesn't have Shockwave. I think he'd just be dead.
Like the converse
Absolutely.
of it, right? Yeah. Like,
Because he's a mage and movements.
yeah, right.
Back to the movement speed.
We addressed that how the mages were indirectly nerfed in the movement speed, and how I feel like all they needed to do was just like do a proportional, specifically to Gideon, like his black hole, like just make the snare proportional to where it rooted them at the same amount of speed than it was previous, sort of thing, or increase the DPS, the instead like increase the intervals on DPS or something like that. But
I agree with you, Shane. That's one thing I actually even thought they would do. That's just something like I think everybody thought of. Besides, like I think they're just trying to like speed it up or something like the patch. But like when I heard about the movement speed, I was like, all right, cool. They're gonna like address all the slows that everybody had. As in like Gideon, they're gonna do the slows, like the ulti, as you said too. Like they're just gonna increase the slow to make it pretty much the same where it evens out. I was also thinking too for the Gideon, like his Q, instead of like having like a 5 tick or whatever, like standing in it, I think it should, with the movement speed, if they're not going to change it, maybe have like just a 2 tick, just more damage. It's like a 2 tick or something. But I agree with you. I definitely think they should do something with
I think the mages were underpowered before the
movement exactly. Speed. The only time they were picked up is like in a utility role, not like a damage role. Yeah, exactly.
Mages are support. And like I was saying, this game is so ranger-centric right now. The damage is on the ranger. Tanks can do damage. The mages can do damage, sure. But all that damage is one shot from a ranger, right? And like if you look at other MOBAs and stuff, the mage role it's usually a burst damage, right?
Yeah,
so even late game, it's a scary burst damage. But when it's on cooldown, okay, we have some play. Whereas the ADC is a constant ability to put out constant damage. In this game, there's that threat from the mages isn't there, besides Voaz's stupid containment shield. But basically, like,
throw some respect on it, man. Voaz that was incredible.
I did it before, man. Voaz is a great player. Yeah. But yeah, like I really, really would like to see the mages' scaling ratios on their ultimates really, really heightened. I want a level 3 mage ult to be scary.
Yeah.
And like, there's not really what's it's the effect. It's either gonna like kill other mages or ADCs fast, or well, tanks are already stupidly tanky. If you waste on a tank, it's a big deal. But if you can get that mage to kill the ADC, that's how most other MOBAs play. The mage tries to kill the ADC, while the ADC tries to kill everyone else.
Exactly.
And if the ADC or if the mage misses their ult, or you keep the guy alive, this, that, like that's the entire content of the game. Where right now it's like, well, protect your ADCs because they're your damage.
Yeah, I think talking about Howitzer, because he's a mage for all intents and purposes. I think the design of Howitzer is awesome. I love playing Howitzer. He's a really fun hero to play. But the lack of impactfulness, like his skill set, I think is good. His ultimate is awesome. I love his ultimate. But I think if they, it's same with case with Gideon, and obviously Iggy is a little bit different case. We'll touch on him after we're done talking about this. But I think Howitzer, maybe you give him the same treatment as far as like maybe his ultimates, instead of it being like the big burst being at the end of it, right? Because it is a big burst at the end of it. The last
50% of the damage.
50% of the damage that was done. It actually is a big amount of burst damage. But the problem is, by the time that strike comes, everyone's like, oh, we're way in the safety zone. So maybe I think just make it like a 2's damage strike or something like that. Maybe give him, I think the mages, Howitzer and Gideon specifically definitely need some treatment. Now, going over Iggy saw a lot of play today, and he's like, he's a mage in the sense that he uses his abilities to do damage and is an energy-based hero, right? But yet he was banned, he was picked. I mean, you guys lost to, I think, Baylife used him in both games where they beat you. I mean, what does Iggy have that the other aforementioned quote mages in quotes don't have.
I think he can just go. I think he just go straight tank as well, and still do like massive damage. Like nothing really changes damage wise. So
yeah,
I think he can just go straight tank and still do like massive damage.
He does just much more damage than the other 8 mages, I think. And like when you were saying about Howitzer, if Howitzer's ult did like that much more damage, because if you actually look at the 3 mages, Gideon, Howitzer, and Gadget, their ultimates are almost the exact same ratios and the exact same damage and all of that. They really are. People tell me that Gideon's stronger than the others, but it's more just that Gideon's get fed. His abilities are all the same like ratios and stuff as the others. But the Howitzer ult, like, how easy is it to get out of it, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Hey, it's expanding and I'm outside of it already.
Yeah.
But if they made it damage more and you could keep them in it, it'll pay off, right? So it changes the entire kind of gameplay of the fight. And it's like Decker. If the Decker's in the game, fights are going to be different. If the Howitzer's ult did that much more damage, the fights would be different because now you can't be in it, and their team's going to try to keep you in it. You're going to use your satchel charges, this and that, and the fights going to be so different because of it, and that would be great. Nah.
I couldn't agree more, man. I think Muriel has that same effect where when there's a Muriel in the game, you got to kind of like play a little bit different than there wasn't, right? Like, oh, hey, this is a 1v1. I can totally win this 1v1, but there's a Muriel, and I have to take that into account, right? So I think Muriel it has that same kind of impact as well. Do we want to talk about Muriel, Notch?
I don't want to talk about Muriel. We all know Muriel's overpowered as fuck.
Okay, we don't even have to talk about it. Okay, we all know.
The rant on that fucking hero is going to be insane. We will see balance changes coming from them. I do want to talk about one more thing before I leave here, and this is kind of a what if, what do you want to see in the future thing. We're going to start with Chip here. Chip, what do you want to see with Paragon? In
Muriel nerf.
God damn it, sell one. Is there a certain kind of hero you're looking for? Is there a certain kind of aspect of the game you want to see change? But what would you like to see from the future of Paragon? Whether it's a hero or a design change.
All right. Well, one thing that they absolutely have to do, without a doubt, is buff Muriel.
God damn it!
Do more, man. It's so long. It's like,
honestly, like. I would really like, and especially because it is this kind of like third-person shooter, like, oh, you don't necessarily know what's behind you and this and that, what's around you. You have to have this awareness so much more than like the top-down view where this is the battle, right? You don't know what's outside your view range, and sometimes most of the battle is going to be behind you. Because of all of this, I would really like to see more telegraphed abilities and counterplay like I was mentioning for Rampage. If you have that on other heroes. And again, there already is a lot of it, like Grux pulls and all this kind of stuff. Really powerful kind of game-changing abilities, but that can be countered. More of those, to me, is just going to make this game so much more epic. And, like...
The epic pun.
The epic pun was on point.
But, like... And that's the thing, like, I would have loved, and this might be a minority opinion, but I would have loved the movement speed to have stayed as is, but more telegraphed abilities and stuff like that. So, yes, the combat itself might be going slower, but everything is just that much more significant and unforgiving and strategic, right? So you'll have so many more, like, okay, Rampage throws his rock and the Grux goes into pull into, like, a howitzer mine or all that, like, crazy shit like that. And the higher the movement speed, the less likely that is, and the less telegraphed and counterplay you can have. It makes it more chaotic, simply put. And I would love it to be more strategic than chaotic, personally. I know people want a quick Quake shooter, all that kind of stuff, but to me, this is MOBA. It's a MOBA.
Yeah.
So if they add a lot, and Iggy, the turrets in Iggy is something like that, where like now
that's true.
They put it down. You could have someone with a mad sword to kill them, this, that. Now, the problem with Iggy, to me, is because they are instant place and all of that.
Those need to be changed a little bit, but yeah.
And I would want it to move away from the chaos to the strategic. So if Iggy's turrets, they could even do more damage if you want, but allow them to be killed and put on cooldown or stuff like that. So now it really is area denial that you're either going to get completely screwed over for or be able to counter it. That is the direction I would like to see Paragon take.
Sorry, Notch is getting tilted with Game of Thrones. Man, don't spoil it
piss me the fuck off. Don't if you spoil my Game of Thrones, I'll ban the fuck out of you. I won't even hesitate, and I don't ban anybody.
So
I don't ban anybody. I'll ban your shit so fucking quick. Selwonk, same question to you, buddy. Do you think there needs to be something added? What do you want to see in the future with Paragon, man?
I definitely want to see him mess around with the OP buff a little bit. I really think that instead of 5 minutes, I think the OP buff should be a 10-minute spawn rate or spawn in 10 minutes. I really would want to see the inhibs and core regen HP, or if not just inhibs, maybe just only core, and then have it sort of like with Smite. It's like if you have all 3 like inhibs up, maybe the core regens HP as well. I think the OP buff turn-in should be channeled sort of like the harvesters, and if it's somebody's like attacking you or something like that, it gets contested. But I definitely think there should be a channel time to turning in the OP buff instead of just instant.
What do you think about the actual? Because in most other, I'm not gonna admit. I know nothing about Smite. I'm much more familiar with like Heroes and Dota 2 and League.
Yeah.
When you look at Dota, you have the Roshan pit, right? You have the Baron pit, and Heroes version of that is kind of like the boss, the Golem boss. And one of the things, it feels like the Orb Prime. It's too easy to take the Orb Prime in a sense that like. You can just kind of take it, right? Like there's not a big. It doesn't put you at a disadvantage by being inside of that pit. I feel like obviously, if you're taking Roshan and Dota 2, it's something that you have to be very careful about. It's a very high risk, high reward unless you have a big advantage. Same with the Baron, same with the boss, right? I feel like the OP boss itself make either that terrain a little bit different or make the OP boss have something a little bit more disruption to where teams can punish their opponents a little, maybe not easier, but at least be able to punish their opponents for just recklessly going to the OP boss and just picking up this orb. That's another thing I would like to be seeing. I mean, what's your guys' opinions on it? Do you think it's too easy to take, or is there a good balance?
Health bars, man. Health bars.
It's pretty. Yeah, I think if it had a percentage, if they had like a percentage or something like on OP buff too, I can maybe see it more like strategic. Like stealing make like a lot easier as well. I definitely like your point of view too. Is like. If they maybe like rework the like throw pit a little bit and then maybe like throw it somewhere else on the map.
Yeah, like a throw pit. That's perfect names of it, right?
And then maybe make like the ridges higher so like you can't even jump out, or like once you're in, you can't jump out at all. You have to go up the ramps maybe. But I see if they rework it or something like that and just say ignore the turn in. Just like once you kill it, you kill it. That can be cool as well.
Yeah, that's true because that is the secondary fact that you have to actually turn in the orb itself as well, so that's some of the balance as well.
I like the turn in as well.
I like it too, man.
The turn in is fine too if they mess around with it a little bit. Maybe have it. Yeah, I don't know. They can tweak with it a lot, but if they just want to keep it simple how it is, maybe just have just like a cat, like a sort of like the harvester, like I said earlier. Have like a channel time on it or something where you can't just like bully your way in and just take it. You just have to fight for
touchdowns. Touchdowns feel so good.
And then the CXP also, I think like maybe instead of like not all 5, I'd like to see like maybe 3 have all 100%, and then after that it dropped down or something.
Yeah,
that'll be like another thing. I know from when I hear like from Beacon and True, I know they want the projectile speed of basic attacks to be faster, maybe more realistic for like the shooting stuff, like just speed up a little faster. I know that's what they were saying as well.
I'll agree with it. The projectile speed, it is a little slow on some heroes. It's actually really slow on a lot of heroes, so that would actually be a really good fix.
Especially after upping movement speed.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. Right.
I hate to cut this short, guys, but I have some family stuff that I have to do.
I thought you liked this.
I love the shit out of you guys, but my kids are actually going into meltdown mode.
Oh man!
And that can't happen.
That just means you got some energy penetration.
It does. So what unfortunately, what we're gonna do, guys, is we're gonna cut the show short. We will have these two back on again in
the future.
Tomorrow. Well, fuck it. Let's do another episode tomorrow. We will have Chip and Selwonk back on. I do want to say a huge thank you to Chip and Selwonk. Guys, thank you for coming on.
Guys.
Chip, we'll start with you. Where can people find you on the internet, my friend? Where social media? Where can you be found on the internet?
Plug yourself, shamelessly.
I'm right here.
That's not the answer. I know you're right there right now, but where other times?
Not in America.
True. I'm not the American, but well, there's the Twitch. So that Twitch thing that we're on, but you changed another notch to the giant chipperl.
Okay.
Easy enough.
Yeah. And I have a YouTube, but I don't really care about it. So yeah, follow me. You can go watch cute couples videos of me and that one over there. What do you know? What do you know? Go to your channel. Go to her channel. What's your channel? Say it.
I feel like a lot of us have a YouTube channel we made when we were younger that were like, man, I hope people don't ever find out about those. But.
Please give me the cookie.
So, Wonk, what about you, my man? Plug yourself. Where can we find you?
Oh, I stream this here and there. It's just so local 2Ks, but I stream off and on. I haven't streamed for a while, but that's pretty much it. Nothing really to plug in. But I do want to say we might have lost, but we're still number 1 in A. I just want to
That's
keep
a
that
good
high.
point.
Oh,
We
That's
are
a good
number
point,
1 in A.
man.
Let's keep this
Number
real.
1 NA. Let's keep it real.
Because we knew Easter's team was like number 1 EU, maybe, but we haven't seen the Apostles team, so maybe like
Yeah,
Apostles
they
seeing
didn't
them.
show up this week.
I want to say it's because of the sponsors though as
Defensive
well.
end.
Yeah,
I'm not sure though, but maybe we'll see Apostles team there too that maybe challenge them.
that would be good.
But yeah, definitely made good props to the U team. Definitely, they did really good plays.
They beat us on NA too.
They did. They had
Yeah, that was
lag.
really good.
I was gonna say, man, that's
Woo!
They had the lag advantage. God damn it!
Woo! Way to not capitalize there, guys.
I was actually thinking of like DDoSing them again or something, like making their deck or like do something.
Oh, shit.
That's why we did not surrender on the first game. Where it's like, dude, we just have to stall this out, wait for the
Until one
DC,
drops.
and we'll go. It has to come. It has to come.
Oh my god, I'm not even gonna pay any attention to that. I gotta move on right now.
doing them dirty right there. Holy
Yeah, someone tried to add them on Skype and got banned, so it didn't work
Yeah,
out.
that's literally
That's what happened.
That's
That's what happened.
Gooch, where can the wonderful people of the internet find you, my friend?
I'm not streaming as much as I used to because my focus has been creating content for the tournament and for the podcast itself. But you can find me at twitch.tv/ Shane Goocher Gaming. And find me on Twitter at Twitch or https://www.twitter.com/Shane Goocher.
Holy
I think
fuck.
I got that right. I think
we know
right.
how the internet works. It's not brand new.
Apparently, men. I'm very active on Twitter. See if you guys want to meet me there as well. And of course, here on the podcasts. And a big shout out to everyone listening on the audio version, whether it be Stitcher, SoundCloud, or on iTunes. Thank you guys. We actually hit over, I think we're at like 11 or 1,200 downloads in less than a month for the audio version, which is amazing. And for you guys specifically, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, you're here listening, you're at the end of the podcast, so assuming you do like it, thank you for that. And make sure you give us some good feedback. Give us the 5 stars on iTunes, or give us some comments on Stitcher and iTunes, and because it goes a long way, right? It goes a long way to maybe like getting ourselves knocked up in those categories, and we really appreciate your support thus far, everyone. That's it, man. That's it for me today.
One more shout out. The donators. Dude, the donators are insane today.
That's right, man.
Yes,
You
I was
guys-
just gonna big shout out to the community today, you guys. We were talking about Agora's Rising, the tournament today. I want to say thank you to the community who donated over $1,000 to first and second place. Again, that doesn't go to the Gooch and I.
Is that you, Chip?
That is Chip running across.
Are you serious?
That goes.
I had no way to get to my pants.
So again, thank you to the community for making the Matcherino so amazing. We will be doing it in Agora's Rising soon. But guys, for me, Another Notch here, you guys can find me twitch.tv, Another Notch, 6 nights a week, streaming Paragon. You guys can find me on YouTube at Another Notch Gaming. And of course, on the podcast. Thank you again for listening. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to do that quick epic outro. Maybe I have it set up. And as soon as we come back from that, guys, we will do the a giveaway. So we'll see you guys in just a second.